Yo, what up, man? Welcome back to Pinoid News. Man, listen, all right. So I wanted to drop a video on the life expectancy in America dropping, right? Because I feel like it's kind of important as an in general thing, right? Because when it comes down to it, like it's a strange thing that you look at, and when you have a conversation about it, like you go and you look for information on it, and there's no real information about it as a whole on the internet. And the reason why is because the individuals in charge, in our planet as a whole, in charge of the governments, in charge of the states, in charge of all these agencies, right? They're all asleep at the switch. It's like when you look at the UN's predictions of like how many people are going to be on Earth, at the end of 2100, like they all still like have it at like 10 billion or some nonsense like that. When the reality is by, the end of 2100, we're probably going to be more probably closer to like, or 7 billion or like 6.5, because of how birth rates are dropping and, how demographics work, like less kids have less kids have less kids. And as we become more of an urbanized society, due to the fact that, well, everybody's going to college, people have less children. Like the more educated you are, the more educated you make your female populations, the less kids you're going to have. Just, basic fact of life. And then on top of that, when you move from the farm to a city, you don't have room for kids. So you end up not having them. Right. Mm. And I think that's an important ideology to understand. You know what I'm saying? Right. So on top of that, when you start looking at the fact that the life expectancy is dropping in America, I think what you're going to find is that the average person, right, in the boomer age and younger, is in way worse shape than we think they are, right? All these diabetics, individuals who are obese, right? Something like 60% of the populations, like obese medically, as far as shit's really concerned. So when you have this and you're not really looking at it, and you're looking at it properly, and you go, man, listen, like, why is it that we're having these type, like, why is it that you think that these people are going to live to 75 years old being fat? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like, we are as sick as we have ever been in this country. You know what I mean? Like, people are truly ill. They're eating like trash. They're living like trash. They don't have families. They don't have communities. Everybody's completely stressed out. They're living off of, like pills and nonsense. And like, there's no way people are going to live to 80. Right? Like, it doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. And so I think what you're going to end up finding is that the last generation who, died off, and they're having like that average come out. The people who are, dying in particular are men, like, yeah, like you have a lot of female overdose deaths, at the younger years, which is skewing the statistics as far as stuff's concerned. Right. But it's a majority of it's men, who are overdosing or, dying in like street crime or, ending up, having, like massive amounts of health problems due to like drugs and things of this nature, and being completely unhealthy and working in unhealthy environments and living an unhealthy life and eating unhealthy. Like, I don't understand why it is that, like, I mean, I guess it's the fact that what are you going to do? You know what I mean? It's like when COVID happened, the government couldn't tell you, like, hey, asshole, put the Fritos down. Stop eating Cheetos. Like, stop eating fucking, hot dogs. Stop shoving garbage into your fucking mouth. We need to be eating vegetables and fruit and, like fucking proper cuts of meat. Like, we complain when people with food stamps go out and buy steak and, lobster and fish. It's like, yeah, sure. Like, I understand, like, there's human jealousy, which, again, I don't fucking get, because, stop being a jealous piece of shit. But they're eating better. You know what I mean? Like, that's a better way to live, eating steak and, like eating lean meat and, proper protein is a much better way to go than having these individuals have terrible health outcomes and you have to pay twice as much for them. And I understand, like, yeah, you're still going to have like a terrible health outcomes when it comes down to it. Like no matter what you do, like you're going to end up with these really, really big problematic fucking health outcomes because of the fact that like we eat like just hot garbage in this fucking country. Like the American diet is probably the worst diet in the fucking world. I don't even think probably. I'm gonna say it is. Right. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the American diet is fucking terrible because we made and like here's the thing, right? So like there's a lot of people out here who think that it's I mean some conspiracy that they want you to die. Death is a big business. No, no, right? It's really not. You know what I mean? Like, it costs massive amounts of money, and people end up in debt, and like it doesn't make any financial sense for them to want you dead. It's just we made terrible decisions when it came down to how to feed all of these human beings 60 years ago, right? Instead of going like, hey, look, we need to find a way to feed these people properly. We said, hey, look, we need to find as many fucking carbohydrates as possible to be able to like allow individuals to continue to, like breed and move forward. And we need to make them fucking cheaply. And so what we did was, we fucking said, hey, look, we have land that can grow lots and lots of corn and lots of wheat and lots of grain. So, let's feed all this fucking corn to the goddamn cattle and like go fucking fatten these fucking cows and pigs and chickens up, right? Even now we're feeding it to fucking fish, right? And we could take that corn and turn it into high fructose corn syrup and sit here and, be able to like put it into everything that we fucking eat, right? And it made financial sense. Because like it's cheap, it's easy, it's fast, and it allows you to like have people to have more money to stand here and buy other goods. Just the reality of the matter. It's not something that's some massive conspiracy. It's not something that, you're going to sit here and, look at and go, man, listen, like they don't want you to be healthy. Like they just in general care about money more than they care about anything else. Like have a conversation with an institutionalist sometime. Like I spent 3 hours schooling an institutionalist last night on fucking Discord. And legitimately, it was just me and him talking. And it was like a group of 20 people just sitting here listening to us talk. And while I'm sitting here having this conversation with this guy, it's really plainly shown out that what I'm doing is I'm rooting for Team Human, and what he's doing is he's rooting for Team, State. And that's what, libertarians and institutionalists are about. They're about, like, hey, look, what does the most good for the most people economically? And I go, well, yes, but let's measure this out in the rest of the outcomes. It's not involved with financials, right? Let's talk about like how healthy you are. Let's talk about how healthy your family is. Let's talk about how healthy, your community is. Let's talk about how well, like, your marriages and relationships are doing. Let's talk about, your fucking suicide rate. Let's talk about, your drug use. Let's talk about all these things rather than just talking about one thing, right? Because your bank account is just a measure of how productive you are and how much individuals value you inside the economy. That's just one measure of stuff, right? Like, because I personally don't give a fuck whether or not you have all the cheap plastic things from China, right? Like, what type of human being are you? Does it really matter? You know what I'm saying? If an individual has the brand new video game or, the brand new fucking electric car or the brand new fucking widget, whatever it is, if they're a half a person, if, they don't know how to, make a fucking steak, if they don't know how to have a basic conversation, if they don't know how to build a fire, if they don't know how to, skin a piece of meat, they don't know how to like take care of themselves. Does any of these things matter in the end of the day? Like we have an entire group of people in this country who literally like they have no inner monologue or ability to visualize anything. Like, what are we really looking for here? What do we want? And what our society is breeding is individuals who don't think, who don't care, who don't give a fuck about anything. And all that they have is, their fucking pockets, right? Like I was standing here and I was talking, you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, you're not wrong, Skull Cam. By the way, what up, artist? What up, Skull? You know what I'm saying? Nice to see y'all motherfuckers out here and shit. Fucking see anybody, not nobody else is in the chat. Right, like this is kind of like the entire mentality of shit when it comes down to it. is I was talking with this guy, right? And I was telling him, I was like, yo, look, you know what I'm saying? Like, I raise my kids, spend time, go fishing, go to the river, go outside, you know what I mean? Be outdoors. I fucking, you know what I mean? Bang 3 females a week. I fucking enjoy my goddamn life and shit. I fucking eat well, I fucking exercise. I go to work and like I live my life. I read. I have these conversations on, internet with individuals and build myself up personally. Right. And he goes, yeah, but you're gonna want more out of life at some point. And I look at him and I'm saying like, oh, well, what more? What more? Like, what more in life? You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. Like these people, they don't understand, right? That like the normal things in life is what makes it worth fucking living, right? And if you're fucking up the basics, your world is going to be fucking miserable. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is, right? Like human beings are meant to be human beings. Like we shit, we piss, we eat, we breathe, you know what I'm saying? We fuck, we fucking wild out. Like I see a mountain, I climb the mountain, right? I see a river, I go in the river, I fish in the river, I swim in the river, right? Like I do the things that human beings want to do. Like I see an open road and I roll. Like I experience life moment to moment, day to day. And I think that's an important part of who we are as human beings. And I think that a lot of people are just missing this shit. Like today, I sat here and I went to the store and I got ribs and I got, cantaloupe and I got fucking stuff to make macaroni salad and I got fucking corn on the cob, right? And I sat here and I took the time to, make a fucking really good rub for this, fucking for this piece of fucking meat and shit. And I went and I fired up the grill and I got the fucking charcoal proper. And, I took the ribs out and I put them on the fucking, and I covered the ribs in mustard and I rubbed it down and I covered aluminum foil and I put it on the fucking grill and shit and let that shit cook for like an hour and a half. And, I made homemade macaroni salad and whatnot. Then I fucking made some corn on the cob and cut up. Well, I didn't cut the cantaloupe up. I should have, but I wasn't thinking about the cantaloupe, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I kind of forgot to put the cantaloupe. But like, you take your time to do things the right way and take your time to make your world into a better place, right? In the end of the day. And these individuals in this world who are out here eating McDonald's and, buying fucking frozen fucking meals and shit and like living their lives like that's all there is terrible. In Germany, in Germany, they're concerned that they're running out of cordwood to be able to like fucking burn for wintertime. And they're like, they have to go to the forest like their ancestors to get wood. And what? Like that's what we do all the time. They're burning wood pellets. What? We do that all the time. That's like a mark of status here if you have a wood stove in your fucking house. It's like it's something that everybody wants here. These people, I don't think, understand what life is, right? Like, I have a spot for a wood stove, and I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna put a wood stove in the crib. Like this is what you're supposed to have. There's nothing like tonight. I went, there's across the street. There's like a tree in front of the cemetery, and the cemetery has like a big hill that comes down. And don't have any graves on it. It just has like a hill that comes off the cemetery, and the bottom of it is where like the lawn care people stack up all the wood that like the sticks and the branches and shit from the trees or whatever it is, and they take them and they stack them in front of the tree. And I grabbed all that wood and I took it out back and I broke it apart, and I lit a fire. Just like I have a half of a burn barrel, and like I have a full barrel, to burn my trash. But like I have a fucking half a burn barrel. But like I put, like about 10 foot off my porch or whatever, and I put all the sticks in. I lit a fire. I was kind of concerned. I was worried because it was way too big when it started. But like I sat here and I lit a fire, and there's nothing better than like the smell of fucking like a fire at night, and you're sitting there chilling and breathing in the world around you. And we miss this completely, right? Like we miss all these things that like are basic and primal and normal. Like you're supposed to like live this way as a whole. Problem is there's too many of us to live this way. Like we have a society where like if everybody had to like have a wood like a fireplace or burn wood, we'd run out of fucking wood. Like we run out of trees. We'd depopulate the place. You know, it happened on Easter Island. Easter Island used to be covered in fucking, you know, trees and shit. And the trees are all gone now because like they fucking ended up, you know, harvesting all the trees for wood to burn. Right. But like there's these people don't understand that like this is how you're supposed to live your life. And going backwards oftentimes is a step forward. Right. Remembering that like all the things that like make our modern society work oftentimes are the same things that make you less human as a person, right? Like there's nothing like walking or floating down a river to slow down everything and change your perspective on life. I remember I used to go out with my boat, and like you go out and you know the boat only goes so fast, right? You know, it was like 10, 15 mile an hour top end. And you stand here, and when you go out in your boat and you go out in the water, and there's no lines, there's no like you know restrictions of where you're allowed to be other than you know like the depth of the water. Excuse me. And you get done in your boat or whatever, you spend the whole day out fishing and hanging out and just being free as a man. It's the most freeing thing other than maybe flying that you can do is boating, right? And I used to put the boat back in the back of my pickup truck and lash it down and shit. You know what I mean? Lash down the fucking motor and head back to the house. And the whole way home, you do like 5 mile an hour because that's all you want to do. You're not concerned with getting where you're going. You're not concerned with any of the bullshit. You're just lapping up life. And you get home and you sit down and you drink your beer or whatever you're drinking. And everything just kind of comes into perspective, right? Like now when you go to work, you're doing it because you want to live, because you want to enjoy your life and your world and the people in it and the individuals who you care about and you share all that with. Yo, Gil, what up, man? Nice to see you, my brother. Right? Hang on a minute. Sorry, man. I had to clear my throat. Right? And this is the reason why, like, you're working is so that you can enjoy that. Like, and the people around you and the people you care about, they get to share that with you. That's the point of life, is that I can't wait to leave work to get home to be back in my area that I belong because it's beautiful and I love it and it's peaceful and there's water and there's nature and there's just it's it's what I want. It's where I want to be. I think a lot of people are working to like I don't even know how to put it, man. Like they're they have a place so that they can work. And that's not the fucking point. Right? That's not the point of life as a whole. Like your job and your career, right? And like let's be honest here, like 99% of us aren't like doing some passion in our life. And if you do, like I'll be honest, it's gonna ruin your motherfucking life, right? Like anything you do as for a job that's your passion, right? And what up, Johnny boy? Nice to see you, right? Anything you do in your life that's a passion as a job, it ruins it, right? Like ask any mechanic, right? He doesn't want to go home and like build fucking hot rods and like wrench on things and like enjoy like the fucking craft that he has. And the reason he got into being a mechanic is because he loved cars, because that was his favorite thing, right? He was that little kid who was on the floor pushing his Matchbox cars around and building models and shit and working on go karts. He loved cars before he started doing it, right? Doing your passion for a living ruins your passion. Then you have to do it. It's not something you do because you enjoy it, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yo, it is what it is, man. Legit. Like, I've been here. You know what I mean? Like, oh, fucking, I went to school to go be a mechanic, and I discovered, like, while I was going through school, like, fucking first, like, 4 months, I discovered, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. This seems miserable. Because, like, I still love cars, right? Everybody went to that fucking program. I don't, like, they fucking hate it. They fucking hate cars now. They don't want to fucking anything to do with it. Ask Willie about that shit. Willie Cogley will tell you all about that shit, right? And so, like, you work so that you can enjoy your passions in life. You can enjoy the things that you want to do. You can do the stuff that you want to do. And you can live the way you want to live, right? Like, yo, fuck keeping up with the Joneses. I don't give a shit what nobody else does in their life. That's their business. You know what I mean? Other than, like, if they're doing something that I want to do, you know what I mean? Where, like, my neighbor, he got a really nice pickup truck I enjoy. You know what I mean? I'm like, I like that pickup truck, son. That shit's beautiful. And I heard he paid like $300 for it. I'm fucking super jealous. It's all jacked up, big ass mud tires. He comes home sometimes from the fucking going mudding and like it's all covered in mud. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, yo, I want to fucking do that shit. But like, I'm not mad at him. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to keep up with him. Like, it's not what it is. I got my own thing I'm doing. He ain't got no fucking kids and shit. I do. So I know I got to go a different path. I got to do different things. You know what I mean? I enjoy having toys here for my kids and having things for them, right? And doing things for them and feeding them properly. You know what I mean? I sat my son down here and, you know what I mean, in front of, like a fucking plate full of shit and like fucking, and I gave him ribs and fucking corn and fucking, whatchamacallit, a macaroni salad. And I swear to God, this motherfucker eats like two goddamn full fucking ears of corn, you know? But that's what it's supposed to be, right? That's the beautiful thing about life. In the end of the day, taking your kids out for a walk and going to see the neighborhood and like go, like having them check out the flowers and the fucking talk to the puppies and shit, and like go, your life is more than like your career. It's more than like your politics and all the extracurricular bullshit. You should be enjoying it as a person and trying to experience things that like your ancestors experienced. You know what I'm saying? Legit. Yeah, Johnny, I know. All right. Anyway, right, yeah, like that's kind of where my mentality is. Is like, yo, like you, the way you're supposed to live and the way we are living is two way different things. Like what it is and what it's supposed to be is completely different. And like I hear a lot of guys talk about stuff, and I'll be honest with you, those little green pieces of paper, they're a means to an end. That's it. That's all it's supposed to be. That's all it ever was supposed to be. Right? The only thing we really have to honestly do as a whole is get rid of property taxes, and like the majority of us can live rather well, legitimately. That is the only thing you really need to fucking do is like get rid of property taxes, and the world becomes a whole lot better for a whole lot of us, especially out in like rural areas and shit. Right? Man, listen, skull cram. You should get another fucking bow. You know what I mean? Like, and spend some time doing some things you enjoy. Spend your life doing some shit you fucking enjoy as a whole. Like, this world and all the bullshit and all the nonsense and all the garbage, like, yo, you have to have something that makes it worth it. right? In the end of the day, right? Like when motherfuckers ask you when you get in trouble or something bad happens, you go, was it worth it? You know what I mean? And sometimes you got to smile and say, yeah, yeah, it was. Regardless of the consequences. Yeah, yeah, it was. That's the point, right? At the end of the day, like when you have to sit down, and this is like the whole point of like the whole like you have to go sit in front of, you know what I mean, John at the fucking pearly gates and shit, and look at him, and you know he looks at you. Is it St. Peter's? It's fucking is it Paul or John? One of them, I don't know. You have to sit in front of him at the fucking pearly gates. I think it's St. Peter. You have to sit in front of the pearly gates, and you know what I mean, like yo, and he weighs your life up and down or whatever, right? Sometimes you got to show up with a smile on your face, right? And he'll smile back at you, even if you motherfucking head down. And even if you don't believe any of that shit, and that's fine, whatever, right? Like in the end of your days, was all the bullshit worth it, right? Did you experience your world? Did you live it? Did you enjoy it? Did you do anything with yourself? You know what I mean? That was extra, right? You know what I mean? Ballistic Zero, what up? You know, that's kind of the fucking point in the end of the day. Like, is your life worth it? You know what I mean? Like, fuck your bank account. Fuck all the garbage. Dead all the noise. Did you enjoy yourself? I think we're sorely missing that mentality in the end of the day. Legitimate. I think we are sorely missing the mentality of, did you have fun? Legit. You know what I mean? Like, yo, there's a rapper named Cannabis, right? And he had a song, I want to say it's Curriculum 101, where he talked about how they asked, you know what I mean, like fucking, you have to ask how Harry Houdini was feeling, right? You know what I mean? And he said he was handcuffed underwater without breathing, and he didn't mind the cold stares he got from his peers, not knowing where they were going, where he was going, or how to get there, right? And he said it's better you prepared and fail than scared and unsure of yourself and still get killed, right? And that's some fucking beautiful shit, right? Because like yo, when you're doing what you want and you're doing your own thing and you're not following somebody else's lead, you're not following a path, right? That's already laid out in front of you, right? Why like there's nobody's gonna be able to give you advice, but you're your own man at that point. You're free. Like I put up a meme earlier on the channel. I put up a meme in the Discord. You know what I mean? It was you know what I mean, some like it was a glass, half of a glass of water, right? And it said, you know, like some people see the glass is half empty, some people see the glass is half full. Yo, a nigga like me just want to drink. Legit, legit. That's kind of the point. That's really what it's hitting for in the end of the day. Like, are you standing here looking at the world differently than everybody else? Right? Are you still standing? Are you stuck in the left right bullshit? You know, what I mean, Democrat, Republican nonsense. Because like I've been left that a long time ago, right? A long, long time ago. Because I can't. You know, what I mean, I can't still be stuck with this bullshit. I can't. You know what I mean? Like yo, because I got my own thing that I want. Like I heard that like you know like the fucking the the average age of death of American, the life expectancy number was decreasing. And in my brain just went, good. Like, good. Legit. Let's let these people pay some consequences for once. You know what I mean? Let's let them explain some shit. You know what I mean? Have a real conversation about some things, about how we're living as people, right? Let's have a conversation about, you know, what I mean, all the individuals dying of fucking diabetes. Let's have a conversation about the obesity problem. Let's have a conversation about, you know, what I mean, our social problems, right? Let's have a conversation. Like, dude, it was something like out of the 100,000 people who died of a heroin overdose last year, like 40% of them were Appalachians, right? And I saw What If Alta's video, and he didn't separate it out. You know what I mean? From the furnace, right? Because he said like the furnace is the piece of land that it's the Rust Belt or whatever, right? And the truth is that you go up and down the Appalachians, like it's miserable the whole way through, right? It's a shared culture. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the entire like point of it. At the end of the day is that we have what Chris Hedges calls sacrifice zones in this country, where literally like you have all these people who, you know, are just left behind by the system, and nobody knows about it because nobody talks about it. Like I bring it up on Discord all the time. Like, have you seen Cleveland? Let me show you some pictures. Right? Have you seen? You know what I mean? Like, yo, what like some of these cities look like? Because they look like shit. They're bad. Right? Philly, Baltimore, fucking Trenton, Camden, Columbus, Cincinnati. Right? Let me show you what these cities look like now. South Bend. You know, all these places. Like, oh, these are sacrifice zones. And you have no problem with what you did to the people here because you got cheap shit out of it. And that's the economics of neoliberalism and the institutionalists. Because I'm like, I care about people. I give a fuck about us as humans. Right? And I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. Like, oh, fuck all that dumb shit. That's just stupid. Right? But I do believe that, like, something's going to harm your people, or if it did, should probably talk about it and revisit it. And go like, yeah, this was bad for them. Let's change direction. Let's have a real conversation about what's going on. Let's work some shit out so, like, you know, we can make it right. Seems bad that we did this to these people. Something we're sorely lacking as a society. And let's be real. You know, this isn't, you know, I mean, like one nation, right? This is a bunch of different nations and shit. Yeah, I guess I'm a humanist. You know what I mean? Sort of. I don't know. I'm not on any political spectrum, right? Let's talk about the difference between states and nations, right? Because like your country is your landmass, your state is your government. The nations are people who motherfucking share political, cultural, social, historical, and you know, what I mean, language and the language, right? And the values or whatever, right? So, like in America, we have like 8 or 9 different nations. Why are we still pretending and it's all one thing? Because it's not true. It's not like a red versus blue nation. That's dumb. Like, yo, ask any Appalachian if they want more policing. They'll tell you to eat a dick. Every one of us will tell you to go fuck yourselves. Right? Like, yeah, we don't want more cops. We want to be left alone. Right? Yo, like, man, maybe like, you know, in the rest of the country, they, you know, like Miami or something, they want more police. Of course they do. Right? They're cities. Cities need lots of police. Too many fucking animals all living near each other. Like, it is what it is. Right? When your animals are spread out, you tend to be okay. You know, you got the room to go, hey, man, you know, shit's fucked up. Like, yeah. Want me to stop? Like, yeah. Thank you. Talk to you later, my brother. You want a beer? No. I got fucking shit to do. All right. You know, you're going about your business. Right? That's how it's supposed to operate. You know what I mean? That's how you're supposed to live as a human being. We're all dangerous. Right? We're all fucking, you know what I mean, deadly individuals. My neighbor walked into my fucking yard a couple times carrying his motherfucking gun. Like, yo, man, you see my new piece I just got? Right? Nah, man, tell me, let me check that motherfucker out. Right? I'm not in like it just we're all supposed to be fucking dangerous. But we all, you know, I mean, cohabitate and live in the same area without the bullshit, without the problems, without robbing each other, without stealing, without, you know, I mean, major amounts of violence on a regular basis. Sometimes there is though. When you do, you know what I mean, you handle your business and go on about your shit. It's how men act. Again, sorely lacking that as well. Letting the women run our fucking lives. Completely unnecessary. You're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be a fucking king. You're Supposed to walk as a god, motherfucking people. No one dictates what you do but you. It's how we're supposed to operate. Instead, we have men like Andrew Tate getting banned, right, on some stupid shit. And what did he ever do? Talked about women, right? And by the way, that Ethan Klein motherfucker can eat a dick, as far as I'm concerned. That fat fucking curly haired fuck. Like, who said he's allowed to tell us what the fuck we're supposed to do? Isn't even like a dual citizen too, and that shit needs to end as well. Like, real talk. That whole dual citizen nonsense, like, bro, either you're a citizen here or you're a citizen elsewhere. One of the fucking two. You can't be fucking both. And especially our representatives, like, man, listen, that ain't a conflict of fucking interest. I don't know what is. Legit. Who are you serving? Real talk. If you're a citizen of two different fucking nations, fuck out of here. These mentalities just aren't fucking there. You know what I mean? Legitimately. Like, and we need to stop fucking calling these people liberals. Start calling them institutionalists, because that's what they are. That's what these people are. They're there for the institution. They're not there for us to be men. They're not there for, like, they're not there for, like, liberal principles. They're not there for fucking, fucking conservative principles. They're not there for fucking Democrat or Republican. No, they're institutionalists. They're there to grow the institution of American power and American state government and the American economy. They're institutionalists. Because I personally don't give a fuck about any of those things. I give a shit less. I care about what happens in my area, because that's how I eat. I don't give a fuck what happens, in goddamn California. If all of them motherfucking dropped off the face of the earth, I wouldn't care. I mean, it might affect me a little bit, because, like, there wouldn't be, like, ships coming off, or containers coming off the ships, but I'd find something else to do. Real talk. I don't understand why it is that we're supposed to care about the rest of the fucking country. They don't give a fuck about us. Like, they give a shit right now about whether or not they have water. So they're like, why can't y'all give us some water? Like, yeah, no, I'm not giving you any fucking water. Like, get the fuck out of here. Right? Have you seen my new penis yet? Like, that's fucking hilarious. Right? But, like, they want us, like, Californians want us to run a fucking pipeline from the Mississippi River over to goddamn fucking LA. Like, get the fuck out of here. Any politician that even tries some shit like that, legitimately, like, they will be immediately motherfucking escorted out of the goddamn building. Real talk. Real talk. Because nobody wants to give these motherfuckers anything. After the way they fucking treated us the past motherfucking 40 years, get fucked. Real talk. Like, real shit. Like, the way they shit on all of us on a regular basis, the way they talk about us, like, oh, y'all just some podunk motherfuckers or whatever, like, y'all Nazis and all this type of shit. Come on now. We're supposed to help them. Oh, get fucked with all that nonsense. Right? Fucking skull cram. You feel sad you lost somebody. We're not losing the beaches. We're just losing the fucking people and shit. You know what I mean? Like, even then, like, how you get, like, fucking beachfront property in Nevada. In the end of the day, you know what I mean? Beaches comes inland. It gives a shit. And this is what I'm saying. Like, imagine having the beaches all of a sudden are clean and free of, like, hippies and, goddamn fucking Californians. Be amazing, right? I don't know. These are the type of things I think about when I'm sitting around not doing shit. About Moses states in our country. Honestly, I care about Florida, maybe the Appalachian Mountains, and some of Texas. Yeah. Man, yeah, I feel you right? I don't really even care about Texas anymore, to be honest with you. Like, I think Texas should just merge with Mexico and get it over with, right? Because, like, really, in the end of the day, Texas is really just Mexico, part two, right? Like, it's just Texas is kind of it's part of just like fucking New Mexico and Arizona. Like, they're fucking Texas, they're Mexico part two, right? Like, they should just merge with Mexico and then fix the Mexican problems down there because the Texans will go down there and handle their fucking business and get rid of and clean the cartels out, right? If given the opportunity. And, then they can, have like a wide open, giant ass free trade thing. And I'll be honest with you, like, I've talked to a lot of Texas people, a lot of Texans recently, and keeping it about, they're as bad as any other part of this country at this point. And it's not the liberals moving from California that did it. It's the military guys that really bugged the shit out of me, right? It's the rah rah America motherfucking people who, you know, like they support a system that is completely counterintuitive. Like I was talking with Magog on stream one time, right? And I was sitting there and I was having a conversation with him, and fucking Magog sat here and, like I was talking about, like fucking female freedom and rights and voting and all this type of shit. And he goes, well, I'm a veteran. I go, well, I got kids. He said, touche, right? Like he tried to pull that card on me. And I'm like, bro, look, like I really honestly don't, I don't support like this system that we have. Like I understand that like you do. I get it, right? Because like, you were taught that this is the way things are supposed to be, but it's just not the way it's supposed to be as a whole, right? Like none of this makes any goddamn sense. This is all just for economics in the end of the day, right? Like the reasons we make these fucking decisions is for economic reasons and not for like any high moral ones. That's how they sell it to you. Like the Crusades, right? Everybody talks about how like, oh, all these religious wars over time and all this shit, right? And like they talk about the fucking Crusades and they go, oh man, look how what they did with the Crusades. And I'm like, bro, like, let me tell you something, all right? The dude who started the Crusades, all right, ended up being king of motherfucking Israel or whatever, Jerusalem at the end of it. The noble who led the Crusades became king. Now, if that slipped by you, I'm gonna explain it to you real easy. What ended up happening is that a noble wanted more land and more like country and shit. And so what he did is he stood here and fucking went and conquered a place to become king of it and sold it as a religious war to everybody else. Right? Like, this is the fucking problem with shit. It's like, they use these high moral, high value fucking arguments at us. Right? In the end of the day, it's all fucking bullshit. Right? It's all nonsense. Right? Like every fucking thing that's ever happened has been about money and fucking land and resources. Excuse me, and maybe some power in the end of the day. Money, power, land, resources. That's the end of the fucking, that's the end of the day. That's all of it. Right? Fuck the garbage. We don't do shit for moral fucking reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always about money, resources, land, power. Like the whole Ukraine thing right now, right? Like, Germany's fucking vice chancellor or whatever sat here and said, I swear to God, said, I don't care what the German voters think. Like, we're going to stick with Ukraine. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're legit. Get the fuck out of here. You're going to tell me that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you're upholding the trade order that you want, right? And you're gonna stand here and motherfucking tell me that what they're doing is they're putting the EU and the trade and the money and all the shit that goes with it above the people of their fucking country. They don't give a fuck about the morality of it. They don't give a shit about the morality. The morality is just a way to argue it. In the end of the day, it's just justification. It's like BLM and all the other fucking nonsense, right? All the garbage that comes out of colleges, it's all just justification. Real shit after the fact. It's all it is. All of this shit that we argue about, the wokeism and the nonsense and the garbage, it's literally just justification. 1619 Project, motherfucking critical race theory, all these things. Just ways to justify the shit afterwards. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. You have to understand the difference between the motherfucking tail wagging the dog and the dog wagging the tail. That's the dog wagging the tail right there. Real talk, right? Because like, yo, what they did was is they made economic decisions that didn't make no motherfucking sense for the people, but it made sense for the rest of the fucking country. They fucking stood here and sacrificed the individuals who are now fucking being told that they're fucking oppressed. It's that basic. It's that simple, right? Like, yo, afterwards, they tell them they're oppressed. Beforehand, it was the whole mentality of we need open trade so that we can drop prices, so that we can arrest this inflation, so that we can motherfucking sit here and continue to print money and be the world's reserve currency and do whatever we want because we can't have this if the American people continue to gain income, right, through unionization and having fucking higher wages. Basic. Because goods cost more money when it costs them more to pay you. It's a very simple thing, right? It's a very goddamn simple thing. In the end of the day, they don't give a fuck, right, about the human beings who they rule over. They give a fuck about what the fucking account looks like at the end of the day. They are paid for and they are bought and paid for by fucking corporate fucking powers. Simple. Very simple thing. That's what feminism was about. Why you want women out of the home? Why? Because you want to double the fucking workforce. That's fucking why. What do you do when you double the workforce? You drive down the cost of labor. What do you do when you drive down the cost of labor? You allow for more profits. Simple. How do we keep up with that? Oh, well, you know, the American public are usually living a certain way. What do? Fucking hand them debt. Credit lines, credit everywhere. Open a cravings account. Very simple thing. It's basic. It's, yo, again, all justifications afterwards. Literally, like, yo, they make this giant moral ass argument in order to justify them making more profits. Simple thing. It's very basic, right? And the problem is this is, you know, this is a right wing argument against motherfucking capitalism, and well, not against capitalism, against American oligarchy, against liberalism as a whole. That's what the fuck this is. Legitimately. Like real shit. Like, yo, BLM. Yo, BLM was about black dudes getting shot by the police. It's all completely ran by fucking by black women and white women. You explain that to me. Every one of the dudes who had a motherfucking who got shot by the cops had a fucking child support case. The very females who were bitching about the shit are the ones who motherfucking put them in danger. Again, dog wagging the tail, not the tail wagging the dog. And on top of that, the reason why it is that they're in the position that they're in the fucking first place is because of the fact that we ship every one of them motherfucking, like, yo, Kenosha, motherfucking Detroit, goddamn Chicago, fucking Minneapolis, fucking what was it? Fucking Cincinnati, Cleveland, Baltimore. What am I naming? Places that were highly industrialized in the 1960s and 70s and haven't been since. Ain't that weird? Legitimately. Ain't that a fucking strange thing? Real shit. This is fucking reality, son. You know what I mean? Like, yo, their economic policies caused all the bullshit, right? And instead of wanting to pay for welfare and the food stamps and the cash assistance program, yo, they fucking charge to do with child support to pay it back. That way, it doesn't go in the state's books. How do you be able to give out loans? You know what I'm saying? Without motherfucking sitting here, right? How do you give out motherfucking loans? Man, shut up, William. right? How do you give out motherfucking loans and shit, right? Without motherfucking standing here, fucking ending up, motherfucking bankrupting as a fucking bank. Yo, you insure the goddamn losses so you can move the motherfucking the leverage off your books. It's that simple, right? Real shit, 100%. That's how that shit operated, son. In the end of the day, that's how all that shit motherfucking worked. Real talk. It's called double accounting. You know what I mean? Yo, it's been a regular practice in motherfucking banking for fucking 400 years. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I understand all this shit. Like, I'm trying to explain it to you so that you get it, and it's motherfucking very easy and simple and basic to motherfucking getting shit. Hold on. Let me throw some shit in the motherfucking chat real quick. Hang on here. Fucking let me put this on here. Paste. Bow. Anybody wants to come in, come on, fucking come in and chill if you want to. You know what I mean? I ain't got no squabbles with whoever. Right? Basic ass thing. Like, yo, we've been arguing and saying this shit for motherfucking like 3 and 4 and 5 years now. You know what I mean? Like having these conversations about the fact that like this whole entire thing's a giant goddamn Ponzi scheme that ain't gonna work, right? Like, yo, because the US fucking birth rate is motherfucking 1.7. We're not having enough kids to motherfucking fill the ranks. We're not having enough immigration to fucking keep it up. Granted, over the past 40 years, we've added like 30% of the population into the population in the form of Mexicans, but that shit's the opposite way now. There's more people going to Mexico than coming to the United States. And you have some people come from Central America, but I'll be real, they're not happy being here. I talk to them all the time. Like, legit. I talk to these motherfuckers on a regular basis, and they miss being home. I tell them about fishing. They're like, oh, man, I remember being in Sao Paulo fucking fishing and shit. It was so nice. I was like, word? Why the fuck are you here? You know what I mean? They all want to go back anyway. They don't want to stay here. And they're going to go back. Simple. Yo, I can't wait for Germany. Like, yo, Germany is wintertime. It gets real cold and everybody got to motherfucking have wood and shit. Like, yo, it is what it is. Yo, William, I'll be real, man. I haven't been active on this bitch for like fucking 2 months now. So, like, I'm not going to have a lot of goddamn viewers and shit. Like, it just kind of tends to be how it operates. Right. But like, yeah, once Germany has that fucking cold winter, all those fucking immigrants that came in from like Pakistan and Nigeria and all these places that are warm all fucking year round, they are out. Yo, what happens when you can't heat your motherfucking home in the wintertime in the middle of fucking like in Northern Europe? What are the motherfuckers gonna do? They gonna be out. The motherfuckers is heading south. They'll head back to where they came from because like they're like, oh fuck this. You think they really want to have the responsibility of rebuilding Europe? No, right? And they ain't gonna overthrow the goddamn government. Well, maybe. That'd be super interesting to see what happens in Germany this fucking winter. See if anybody fucking protests. I know in Denmark they're spraying shit on the motherfucking on the parliament up there because of what the fuck they're doing to the farmers. It's gonna be interesting to see how all this shit shakes the fuck out. Not an hour yet, almost. But yo, look, I'll be honest with you, I'm getting kind of tired and I'm running out of shit to talk about. And ain't nobody coming in. So like, yo, it is what it is. I'm gonna holler at y'all motherfuckers later. Y'all know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe, motherfuckers. Peace be like one. Later, man.